Hello everyone, hope you're doing great and welcome to this new video. Today is part 2 of the Shangai Aftermath video, and this time we're looking at a very interesting data, being the topping lists from each legend in the Shangai regional. Of course, we're not only going to talk about the lists, but also share our thoughts regarding the legends' positioning in the tournament and how they're going to place in the upcoming metagame. I was once again debating with Randy, and you can find all of his socials in the video description. So without further ado, let's get started with the video. Now that we talked about the two big eaters, each stream I have a section regarding like top decks of the week, kinda, in which I try to go through the list and this is going to become a trend into building this deck. This is going to stay. This is something that we did not see that is cool. Let's do this for these kinda lower play rate decks. And let's start with Sett, since we were talking Sett earlier. So this is a list by Sn with a lot of ants, which is a player that we already saw topping with, I think it was Kaisa in a previous regional. So probably overall strong player. I think there are good ideas. I just think this list is on the greedier side of building Sett. When you're Sett, you are actually rather bad at having instant power output, and you need to put the pieces together, and so maximizing your amount of pieces is something that I would look at to combo them together as much as I can. And so all of these one-offs, two-offs, I don't like. I'm also a big advocate of Boar as a 3-off, because I think it's sometimes very crucial to your game plan.
The arena bar? Yeah.
Yeah, the board.
I think the main thing in this list is we have 9 cards at buff, and that's not enough. We have 10 if we count the orange Sett himself. We play 2 Wall Hope and 1 First Mate, and we have 9 buff cards.
And also we are on so many cards that need buffs to be good. Orange Listed needs buff to be good, Fiora needs buff to be good, Yellow Sett needs buff to be good,
C3 could count as a buff for Wall Hop, at least.
Yeah, kinda, yeah.
It's not actually as the same as Bonk or Peach Rookie.
But I do like the inclusion of some of these cards though, but I think overall we are just missing on consistency here.
I mean, we're staying on the trend about Yi and Aura, right? Sabotage is for Aura mostly, and Phase Breaker is pretty good into Yi. It's okay into Kaisa, but not amazing. If we wanted to counter Kaisa, we'd probably play Pen, most likely, instead of Phase Breaker or something like this. Sabotage, I don't know how Sett does into Aura, to be fair. I haven't played it that much, but yeah, I see also Divine Judgment. I have no idea about that card, how good it is, in what matchup it is good.
Bro, I saw this, I was like, what the fuck is this for? He plays 3 of it, right? So it should win a matchup, right?
So I'm thinking if we go first into Aura, we're going 2 runes, 4, 6, so that doesn't work. But if we go second into Aura, I think they get to Aura before we play it. So I'm not sure I don't think
yeah,
it's
but
for
they
that
keep
matchup.
a gear. So you use this and they keep
yeah,
Aura
I'm
and then
saying
you're
it's not
doomed.
for that matchup. I don't think it works into Aura.
Yeah, I don't think so.
From what I'm seeing. So
and, why would that be good into
tips?
Kaisa? How? How is it good into Kaisa? I don't think it is, right?
I don't think we get to 7 runes into Kaisa most of the time.
Yeah,
or if we do, we are either really winning or really losing. So maybe for Yi, I guess.
Yeah, potentially ramp Yi, but
because,
then
okay, yeah,
you want to include such a card in your main deck?
We could not de-ramp at all and just play it on curve going second. And maybe if we just play yellow Sett or orange Sett, play it on curve going first, and in that case we play it before they get to the 8 drops of White Flame. So maybe in that case that's pretty good. I haven't thought about it that much. I think that's a plan.
I think it should not come in the list at the cost of consistency. If you are having a consistent list and then you can add this card, maybe, but I think you still challenge is so important into some of these matchups. It's your only way to reach the base.
But I don't think you can. The problem is when you start playing Sett, you get stuck on these awkward 5 runes, maybe 6, maybe 4, very early in the game, and you have a very hard time getting out of this zone. And if you play spells that actually cost power in those turns, you never get out of it. So challenge is good when you can play it, but you can't really play it most of the time because you get to 5
true
or
into
6
Kaisa, but for other matchups, I don't think it's exactly that way.
I haven't played that
most of the time you are on
8,
9 runes as Sett into Yi.
Yeah, I think into Yi you can definitely have that as an option. I mean, the thing is, Defy is a card, so the less spells that actually cost power we play, the better, probably.
Yeah, that's fair point. So I kind of don't like this list, but also would be interesting to know about the judgment side of things and how it does.
I think it's good into, after thinking about it, I think it's pretty good into Yi.
Yeah, but like ramp,
should be.
right? Not Aurora.
I mean, yeah, not Aura. I think Aura like outspeeds you.
Yeah, like they just keep Aurora and you lose the game, so no points.
Yep.
So that's about it regarding Sett. Regarding the overall placement of the deck though, I do think like this deck is especially strong into Yi. If you're expecting to run into a lot of Yis, you basically destroy them if you're a good Sett player. That being said, the deck is tougher to build and play than what people think. You get punished easily for making a small mistake in like rune management. So that's pretty interesting to play Sett, but also, as you mentioned, I think you have a tough time into Kai'Sa, and like one of your big things into Kai'Sa is you kind of force falling stars, and then you have yellow Sett that's extremely good at playing around these spells, right? But like if Kai'Sa is adding rain back into the main deck, which I guess most people will be adding it after this weekend's results, then it's a nightmare because like all of your bodies get blown away in base and like you can only save one, right? So I don't think Sett is going to be good going forwards. If rains are back in the main deck, a lot of these mid-range tempo decks have to be scared.
I mean, Sett does play annealing though, so game 2 and 3 we're fine.
You could, but you have to see it, and once again, as you mentioned before, you
you don't
really
really
bad
have
at
to see it,
drawing
right?
cards.
But you don't really have to see it, right? Because if you keep one rune up, they can't rain. If you have an yielding or not doesn't matter, right?
I mean, they
Because if
can't
do
rain, but they can check for it, right? Like, if they have a good falling star and they use it and you don't unyielding, they probably know you don't have it.
I mean, yeah, but then they're already you're getting cooked. If they start getting good falling star and you don't have anything.
I don't think like that's enough to
it's,
say it's a positive matchup.
No, it's not. But I think it makes it makes rain bad game 1, but like worse games 2 and 3.
Yeah, this I agree with, but like maybe then you side out rain and like be happy with your unyieldings in the main deck. Like whatever. So Sett, with everything that we said regarding the deck's power level and it falling off a bit of popularity, it was the best placing deck out of all those that were not Kai'Sa and Yi. So still big props to you, Sun, for bringing it so far.
I don't actually know how the placement works though. I don't know if it's against who you lost or if it's Swiss placement.
This so I don't know about. Yeah, for sure.
So because technically he could just have lost to like a higher seed.
Yeah.
And I think the placement is kind of irrelevant until we get to top. Like top 32,
but still he landed in top 32, so like.
Yeah, so that's like same as MF basically.
Yeah, basically, and then Teemo, Viktor are the same. Okay, let's jump onto MF. I'm just going to say my take on MF and like specifically this list and whatever list is like there will be interesting deck innovations and stuff. But I think it's just like could have been any MF that just I rolled the tournament and like GG's. I don't think there's such a big difference. Basically, you see Aurora or you don't, and like as good as you are, if you don't see Aurora, you are losing, and if you see it, you are winning. So I don't think there's much to say about this MF really.
And once again, we're seeing like Possession, we're seeing the Arrowing, which is like the revive card. I think Possession specifically is really good into other big decks like Aura and E. So that's a trend we can continue to see. China expected a lot of Auras, a lot of E's.
That's indeed something that could be worth mentioning is that we are not seeing the Soul Gorger card, which is a card that I don't like into MF, because like if you eat it off of your early auras, it's trash.
Oh, you lose the game on the spot. I think we need to cut this card. It's even in the R-Ring is kind of worse. It's fine.
But like you can play it whenever you want. You don't have to play it off aura.
If we hit Soul Gorger immediately, it's cooked.
So like yeah, I agree. I think Soul Gorger should have been cut a long time ago. It finally got cut, and like pretty happy about that. Regarding the rest of it, not much to say. I think this is just like a standard list of someone that just eye rolled through the rounds and then lost in top cut to a player that did not make any mistake and just like he did not get auroras on curve game 1 and game 2, and so like that's about it. Not hating on aurora though, not saying like if you are playing aurora you are unskilled or whatever. That will never be my point. It's just like
I will say it. I will say if you play aurora,
you can say it if you want because you are a toxic guy. But I'm trying to build a brand, right? Now, if you are starting the game or wanting to play aurora, feel free. My big takeaway from all of this aura thingy is that the difference between a strong aura player and a not strong aura player is far smaller than the difference between a strong Kai'Sa player and a worse Kai'Sa player will ever be. If you're good or trying to get good, you should always pick a deck that allows you to like have that room to express yourself level wise.
I also think if you want to learn the game and you play aura, you're not gonna learn the game.
Yeah, you're not going to learn the game.
You're gonna like it's not gonna be you learning the game, it's gonna be you playing aura and trying to high roll games, and He will just not improve, and if you play Aura all the format until it gets irrelevant, you're gonna get to the next one and you're gonna start playing the game and you're gonna be like 6 months behind. I think he is an easy deck to pilot, or easier pilot than the rest, and he's gonna teach you much more about the game.
Basically, anything that's not a skirmish or a regional is prep for a skirmish or a regional. Like, might as well play those decks that you know you are going to lose with, because like you're going to learn, and that's the biggest thing. And then you play something that you are comfortable with at your skirmish or at the regional, and you're going to have much better results because now you understand what your opponent's trying to do, and you know much about their game plan and their key interaction and stuff. So yeah. Don't be afraid of testing, don't be afraid of losing. Nobody on earth is winning all of their games at local and then winning regionals. We are all testing things and losing because of it. Let's jump on to the next deck. This is Yellow Victor. I have kind of a similar standpoint to Yellow Victor than I have to Aurora, which is basically you eye roll, you win. You don't, you lose. You were complaining about Kai'Sa being on like 6 to 7 endgame, like top end units. This guy is on 2 Watchers, 3 Singularity, 1 Rex, 2 Stratagem, 1 Evangel, 2 Decree, 1 Comet in a deck that barely has draw power.
This list is kind of cooked. There are a lot of good things in this list. I'll talk about the bad things first, and then I'll highlight the good things. I think 1 Falling Comet is weird. I think 1 Consult is okay. I think 1 Facebreaker is kind of weird, but okay. 3 Singularities is a lot in a format where he's expected to be played. I think 3 Singularities main deck is crazy. I really like Decree. I think Decree is a good card. I like Evangel as a one-off. I think you never want to play 2 or C2 in a game, so I can see it as a one-off. It's not necessary, but it's pretty good if you see it as a one-off. And against Kai'Sa, if you think, I mean, game 2 and 3 they probably bring in rain, so Evangel is kind of your only way to deal with that card in a way. It's a bad way to deal with it, but it's better than just losing.
This just feels like a best of 1 list, basically.
I'm surprised we aren't seeing seals, like yellow seals in this list. There's a lot of yellow power cards.
Might as well come into the IRO version.
I would have loved to see more Consult the past and a few seals.
I think Consult is crucial to, like, you have 0 draw power, and also I'm like extremely surprised to see 0 Stupefy in there. Like, I think that's one of the best cards in the deck, right?
I think Stupefy is not great into Victor because you push with tokens a lot. So even if you reduce the might of the opponents, you can't actually buff your own might. So you end up like using Stupefy but still trading. So it's not great, and you already have that 1 extra like mana you want to use every turn for the token. So saving 2 mana from like your perfect curve every turn to have the Stupefy mana, it's gonna be a problem. You would need to play Student to have value from Stupefy.
I would definitely play Student.
You don't have that many spells though.
Because you decided not to put them in there, because you could play more Consults and more Facebreakers for sure.
The thing is, I wouldn't say Consult is a spell you can play to buff Student aggressively, which is probably what you want to do in Victor. I think in Victor you want to push battlefields and basically kind of surrender your units. You just push and you let them die, and then you push again, and you try to develop base at the same time, so you can actually stratagem to close the game. I think that's Victor game plan, and I think Facebreaker is probably just here to buy 1 turn. Against like MF, Aura, for example, they play Deadbloom, you Facebreaker, Deadbloom goes back to base, and you have 1 extra turn. But this deck is pretty favored into Aura anyway, so I don't think this list is awful.
I don't think we will see this deck performing. Like, we probably will see a Victor performing every tournament because like there are so many of them. But I don't think this deck is something that we can expect at the highest level, except maybe if they eye roll like every game. Like, if I see a Victor in like top 8, top 4, I would be very, very surprised.
I would not. You're saying Victor needs to high roll. I think he does, but in terms of pairings more than in terms of like in the games. I think pairings do a lot. I think if Victor faces a lot of auras, he's gonna be very happy. If he faces some Kai'Sas and a lot of auras, he's gonna have a very good time. If he faces Yi, like ramp Yi, it's not gonna be that fun.
But then Kai'Sas are on Rain. And rain is a big problem for Victor.
Now that guys are gonna be on rain, it's gonna be rough. I think 2 rain main deck is like Victor is completely cooked.
Yeah, I think so. So I don't think we're going to see Victor perform any further into Houston, but wouldn't be surprised to see one in like 64 or 32 cuts.
I also don't think many strong players are gonna bring Victor.
I don't think so.
Because it loses to Yi that hard.
We're going to talk about
Teemo. Oh my god.
Yeah, Teemo. So there is a story to tell about Teemo. Just so you guys know, for a bit more context, there was a Teemo in top 16 that was on stream in top 32 and won, but he later on got DQ'd for cheating. I don't exactly know to what extent of cheating, but like he
was
supposedly is a known cheater in other card games, and he got a 1-year suspension from competitive plays. Do you have any like big takeaways from this weekend regarding Teemo? Even though we know this guy was a cheater, Teemo still got a decent conversion rate into top cut. So what are your thoughts on this build?
So China Teemo is basically we play for Mundo, right? So that's all this is. Like we have Grind the Win, we have Gust, we have Scrap Heap, Invert Timeline, all this bullshit. We're digging for Mundo and we're playing Mundo, which is a viable play line and solution, I guess. I'm not in love with it, but I think that's a good Teemo. I like the hide card Teemo, like with monks and all this stuff, more than I like the discard Mundo Turbo Teemo, I guess.
Like, do you think Aiden Teemo is actually good?
It's
I don't
fine.
think it is. Like, yeah, it's fine.
It's
like
fine,
every
but
deck
if I'm
in
playing
the current game
Teemo, I'm
is
playing
fine, but I
Hidden
don't think
Teemo, I'm
it's
not
good.
playing like Mundo Turbo, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, you could play something else for sure. Like, I don't think it's a like super good deck neither.
I mean, I think both Teemos are really good into E, or at least very decent, because they're purple. So you have access to Gust the early drops. They have to basically buff them to prevent that from happening. You have Fight or Flight, you have Rebuke post side that they can defy either. I hate Invert Timeline, but I guess for Aura, it's fine, because you can actually discard their hand and kind of cook them, because even if you don't discard Aura, you can discard a lot of big guys and make them run out of units very fast. Also, I think purple has a lot of cards to slow down the opponent, so you are consistently getting to that Mundo. You have access to both Stupefy and Stack Deck. You have Traveling Merchant, which is pretty good, and you have Fight or Flight, which is amazing, because if they out Mundo, you can save it by bringing him back. So against like yellow decks, for example, if you don't have Fight or Flight and such cards, you can't actually save Mundo from anything, and he just dies.
On the other end, I was pretty surprised to see like such a big commit to Mundo in a deck that, in my opinion, could function without Mundo and then just draw Mundo and like use it.
Oh, China Teemo plays Mundo, that's it. That's all I know. I know China Teemo is Mundo Turbo. He's not playing to hide, he's just playing Consult as a draw card. I'm surprised to see 2 Consult instead of 3.
Yeah, and to dig for Mundo.
I'm surprised to see Flash in the main deck. I don't think Flash is that good in Teemo. Everything else is like, makes sense to me. I don't know if I like this deck, but if you're trying to turbo out Mundo, that looks pretty good. Maybe run Retreat in the main deck.
Like instead of Mutation, which I hate as a card. Like, it's cool when you're all done and set up and like you have Mundo and you can make like 2 bodies worth 1,000,000 might. But like,
I mean, there is
if you're playing from behind,
this
Mutation is shit.
This guy doesn't get caught cheating and just wins the tournament, right?
So we do believe that like Teemo Mundo Teemo, whatever you want to call it, is decent. In my opinion, not one of the best decks, but like can compete. And also surprise opponents. What do you think about like Aiden Teemo?
I think it's good. I think Hidden Teemo is decent. It has the same strength into Yi because you play purple, and I think it's more fun to play. I think it's maybe more consistent than Mundo, but weaker. I don't know how it does into Aura.
I think it's fast enough. Man.
It should be fast enough. It has Rebuke, it has Fight or Flight, so we should be able to just score enough early and prevent them from winning. So
you just get that extra turn that you need to close the game, in my opinion.
I mean, I think we saw all the other lists thinking about we're playing into a lot of Auras and Yi, and this one is I'm playing into a lot of Kaisas.
Like, from my perspective of having made that previous power ranking, I think we could see a lot more Teemo than I expected. Also because this deck looks
especially
fun.
because it's cheap.
Yeah, cheap and looks fun, so people like fun decks. But like, I don't think from a competitive standpoint, I would put it in the like 100% top 5 legend in the game. Like, I think it's decent, can compete. But I would not say like, you want to win Houston, you should play this build. By the way, let's talk about the better purple deck, or at least the expected better purple deck, which was Ahri.
Yasuo. Oh my bad.
Ahri was expected to be one of the top decks.
I have no words about Ahri. It's a cringe ass deck.
From a Kaisa player perspective?
It's just like mono red aggro, unfazed, all those bullshit decks.
This is actually the only, like, in my opinion, the only working aggro deck in the format. Like, the only thing that we could call aggro, and that's consistent enough to be a competitive pick, in my opinion.
It's consistent enough, but not that consistent. You don't see a Ride the Wind that often. You kind of miss it every 4th game, so it's kind of like as consistent as an Aurora deck in a way. I think this list is good. I like it. I don't like Timeline, but I don't like Timeline and Vayne, but everything else is pretty good.
I think you have to play Timeline. Like, sometimes you're only out to like get to that Vi, right? Is that Timeline?
I think you lose too much tempo playing Timeline. I don't.
You just play to close the game. Like, you are on like 7-8 roots. You have a Vi in end. You drop Vi, you go timeline, you pray to get the ride, and like that's about it.
I think my issue is if you're dropping timelines, you're probably losing that game anyway. Can we play another card that wins us the game? Maybe not. In that case, timeline is fine.
Yeah,
In
kind of
every
like time
case,
warp. I mean, like it's another way to access these two guys. So not
Yeah.
much to say though. I do like this list. It's pretty clean, pretty
I
close
think it's
to.
one of the cleanest skins I've seen since we started. It's pretty clean. I like the purple Teemo, they're pretty good. I don't like the one timeline, but it's only a one-off. One rebuke main deck I could see. We should be playing Flash in this deck. There should be Flash instead of timeline for sure.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Vayne and timeline should be Flash.
I do
Pretty
like
good.
the inclusion of Vayne though, because like this guy is on cases, Vayne, and real wards, and also sneaky, which is kind of an accelerate. And like most of the time in Annie, you need that extra accelerate to like push through the mid game and apply pressure. So I like the idea of going Vayne.
I prefer Flash. I would say if you
Yeah,
were
Flash
playing
is
this
good
deck, I would play two
I
Flash
agree.
instead of two Vaynes.
I would probably play 2 flashes too, and maybe like rebuke in the side. And
Rebuke is fine. I think was a one-off. Rebuke in the main deck can be very
not a
good.
bad card. Yeah, not a bad card. I agree.
Yeah.
But kind of like the list though. That being said, the deck kinda underperformed compared to what were the expectations. Hyper
Do
strong.
you know how Annie is into E? Can you actually win consistently?
No, you can't. You can't. So basically, you are winning if
DeFi
they...
is pretty hard,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. So that was my biggest takeaway playing Annie. I was thinking I was doomed into green like a lot of the time, because if they have access to either DeFi or Rune Prison onto Vi, then game is over and there's nothing you can do about it.
Rune Prison on Vi. Oh, that's true. I forgot about this.
Yeah,
You
Rune
can
Prison on
DeFi
Vi is
the
like
the win.
game over.
Oh, I was thinking DeFi earlier in the game, like preventing you from like pushing
But
back the unit,
like they
fight
just
or flight
have
and
one
stuff.
of these two quartz, and then they just have to wait for Ride the Wind to win the game, basically. So I don't think it's good into Yi, but you could still win if they don't have access to one of the two. Into Kaisa though, you could surprise them a lot of the time, like trying to go hyper fast.
I think you're pretty good into Kaisa, especially
Yeah.
if the guys are playing the new, like the Kaisa from the winner. I think we're kind of cooked with this list into Annie.
Pretty interesting from this standpoint that we are able to have a deck that can beat Kaisa on a consistent basis. And in the rest of the field, I think you are 50-50, if not above, as the only properly working aggro deck. So I would say I'm rather surprised to not see more Annies making a deep run. Maybe because of his, also maybe because like, as you were saying before, the top players were either on Kaisa or Yi. So like none of them on Annie also could explain some of the positioning. I think if we have less Yis in the format, Annie could be something we want to look at as a potential underdog for Houston, in my opinion. Like if there's an Annie in top 4, because there's less Yi, and then he smashed like a lot of cases, I would not be like extremely surprised.
I wouldn't play Annie myself. I think it's too unreliable the deck. Mostly,
Yeah.
I think the dice and seeing like the Viber win combo in the end game. She could have a good time and perform.
Yeah.
I don't see Annie winning the tournament.
Nah, not winning the tournament, but like making a deep run to top 8, top 4 could happen.
Yasuo, oh my god, I love Yasuo.
I do love Yasuo too. I think this guy has somewhat of an idea of how to play the deck.
Oh
I
my
think
god,
he just
this
did
list,
not go
this
full
list is
on.
ass.
You
Oh,
don't
no.
like this list?
Oh.
I do have...
Oh my god, I mean, what are we doing with Nocturne in this deck? That's not good.
Don't you think you could play some sort of high-roll Yasuo? I think you could. So basically,
Let's-
like, to just to give you a bit of context, you guys.
Basically, Yasuo says I move units,
So
and
this
Nocturne
works
says
together.
when I'm revealed from the top deck, I get summoned for free, basically. But the problem is, the only two cards that actually reveal from top deck are Borrow and Stack Deck and the Battlefield when you conquer.
So
And it's
this
not
is the
enough.
axis, the big axis. And then I think if you see Nocturne, you just like pitch it with this. And then you are most likely siding out Nocturne after game 1 and you're done using this guy. So I could see that as a nice high roll potential to win game 1. And then game 2 and 3, you have a more stable deck. What do you think?
I much rather just play Scrap Heap and Zone Warrants and play a lot of buffs like he's doing and try to just outvalue the opponent. I think
Yeah.
that's a more reliable plan.
But
It's-
that's also a plan that does not win into Kaisa, in my opinion. Maybe this guy,
But I
if he
don't-
ends up high rolling game 1, can win into Kaisa. Like, this guy, Rasha, is almost free. And then if you happen to
I mean,
see a
he's
Nocturne...
really not free with this list, right? I mean, we don't have anything to dig except the Stack Deck and the Merchant, and it's not enough to make it like very cheap. I think this list is okay, but it's not great. It's kind of cooked. I don't know if it's the best Yasuo we can. Also, I like White Flame. I think Faithful and White Flame are very strong.
But
That's a
then
very good
if
card.
you're onto like White Flame, Fiffolk might as well play Yi, right?
There are some things Yasuo has that he doesn't. I mean, I'm very surprised we are not seeing Gust and we are not seeing Rebuke from this guy. Rebuke and Fight or Flight are kind of necessary into Yi, I think.
Agreed. Let's jump onto the... I think once we are past any, we are talking about like the leftovers, right? Decks
Oh,
that
the
we are...
trash decks, the bad decks, the one
like,
we don't want to play.
Yeah. So like, let's just be a bit faster on them.
This one is shit. Don't play this. Let's just keep it immediately.
You have
All
2
of this
hooks
is
in the
trash.
main and 1 hook in the sideboards.
All of this is trash. Let's get to the next list. I don't look at this one.
Yeah, so let's not talk about this special list and let's keep the intel
Let me link in a good person, like a good hook list. So basically, Hook Darius, pretty simple. Baited Hook is a card that says pay 1 energy, 1 power, destroy one of your own minion, and you look at the top 5 and play a card with 1 more might. So the idea is we play a lot of cards that generate value when they're played, or that get more might when the game goes long. So we play Spectral Matron, we play all the cards that generate tokens, all this stuff, and we want to hook them to get bigger cards like Kai'Sa Survivor, because we can accelerate it from the hook. We can play Darius, we can play Draven, because it's only 3 might on paper, but it gets bigger, and the hook just looks at the might on the paper card. We play Spectral Matron to resummon stuff from the grave, all this stuff. Hook is good because it gives you a lot of value and continuously gives you value throughout the game from the top of your deck, so you don't have to play extra cards from your hand. So the longer the game goes on, the more value you get. And in Riftbound, what's bad with token decks usually is like you push with a token, and then it's gonna die because it's very small. But Hook Darius, actually, just you push with a token and then you kill it with the hook and you get a valuable unit in your back lane, which is very good. And then you have like the stratagem and all the good stuff to beat aura in the side deck, like the salvage and the imperial decree. That's basically Hook Darius. The issue with Hook Darius, when you don't see hook, you have all these shitty ass cards in your deck and they suck to draw.
Yeah, that's the big problem. If we ever find a way to put somewhat of a hook in the champion zone, this deck is cracked. Like,
I think if we get better units and good consistency card in set 2 for yellow
that could
and
help
red,
too.
Hook
Like
is
something
gonna
that
be
we
great.
are missing is draw power. We have almost no draw power except like Eden Blade. So far, it's more of a high rolly deck than a real pick, in my opinion. Like you could do things with it, but like I don't think you win a regional on hook. People also tend to think it's extremely skill intensive, which I kind of disagree with. Like most of the time, like you have curve or you don't, and then some games get skilled because like you can kind of play because you don't draw Matron into Draven into Vayne. But like I think most of the games are solved by either you draw hook or you don't, and then
I think there are a lot of decisions you have to make that are based on the percent chance.
yeah,
of
like it's just being good
seeing a
at
unit
doing
from the
math.
top
It's
deck.
not like that hard, right?
It's being good at doing maths and taking good gambles from the top of your deck, because you stack your deck. You also need to take notes. It's very specific. It's for some people, not everyone. I think it's gonna be underplayed compared to its strengths. And I
Yeah,
think
but like
it's
it's
one of the
not that
better
strong
decks.
either.
Well, I think it's one of the better
ceiling
decks.
is
It's-
extremely
it's up
high
there.
and its floor is extremely low. And like that's not the
It's-
kind of thing you want to have in your
it's-
hands if you're so good at the game, right? I don't think
yeah.
this deck is going to see success. Kind of the same as like Yellow Victor. It's like, yeah, you're going to maybe snag a top cut spot, but like you're not going to get like a deep run in there.
Listen, what do you think of Listen?
There's only one interesting thing that you could do with Listen, which is not playing Mastery, and it's exactly not what this guy has been doing, because I like don't like this list.
I think if you play Listen like Master Yi, you're gonna lose. So
Yeah,
I like this list better than all the Listen decks that try to be Master Yi.
Yeah,
I think
that's for sure. In my opinion,
I think Listen is good.
The only good way to play Listen is to play a sort of like accelerate builds using like orange Listens, first mates, potentially wall ops, but like more than anything the Wild Claw Shaman, which I think is an extremely strong card.
I think Listen is good. It's much better than what people think because it's very unrefined and no one is playing it. I think Listen Champion, like the orange Listen, is an extremely good card. I think it's amazing.
This card I think is extremely strong if you are able to consistently generate buffs, which Lee Sin is doing, and having a free 4/4 accelerate without burning a power is like kind of broken in the mid game.
I think this card is pretty strong. Yeah, I think it's okay. It's almost good enough. I don't know if it is.
I mean, if you are not having like in Sett where you don't have a consistent way to buff, it's not good, right? But like in Lee Sin specifically, I think this card is very underexploited right now. It's like a super strong turn 2 that can deal with most likely all of the turn 1s in the formats, except like Yeez and stuff, but like you get me. And that also gives you the opportunity to value cards like Orange Lee Sin a lot, because then you have free buffs. That being said, this guy is on a sort of shield list with like block like Guardian and whatever.
I don't hate it. Like,
I do hate it.
That
like you can't win into Kai'Sa.
It's mid as fuck into Kai'Sa, that's true. But I don't think this list is that bad. I think it's better than what I've seen previously.
Yeah, this I agree
I
with.
think there are a lot of good things in this list.
It's better than most Lee Sin's list.
Zonia is amazing in Lee Sin because you keep the buffs when you die.
Yeah.
The mushroom guy is pretty strong. Issue is even buffed
guy,
like the elder. The guy was like 4/4
what the
for 4 and
mushroom.
Oh, it's I don't know why.
I gotcha. Yeah, that's a very strong chord. I do love this chord.
The mushroom guy is like in Baldur's Gate. Kind
the mushroom guy. Yeah, that's extremely strong. I agree with that.
It's a very good card. The problem is it still dies to Kai'Sa, the Falling Star. I think Lee Sin is good. I think it offers something every other legend cannot do, which is spend extra energy for actual immediate value. The issue with Lee Sin is it's missing a few cards. Like the problem is turn 1. You're playing a 2-drop, and it's always going to be worse than just playing a 2-drop in Master Yi. Turn 2, you're also playing a card that's going to be worse than Master Yi, because even if you buff it, it's not as good as having +2 in defense. And then turn 3, you start being able to play the big Lee Sin, all those cards which are very interesting, but it's kind of very late. If you had Watcher or such a card in the border,
that's why I think the Accelerate build is.
If we had a Showstopper in Lee Sin, I think the deck would be very good.
Exactly.
Or like,
but instead we have Dragon Rage shit, which this guy is playing too often. Like I'm amazed because like this card is not only trash but also unplayable into any green deck.
Dragon Rage is really good into Aura. That's why he's playing it.
Yeah, I get that, but like into other decks, this card is like trash as hell. And even Auroras play DeFi these days. Like one of my big problems for Lee Sin is that like every deck in the format feels like it has its kind of like broken cards. Kai'Sa is like Falling Star, of course. Kai'Sa, Falling Stars, you want to play 3 off, like it's so good. The subsetly broken cards for Lee Sin, you don't want to pay 3 off because they stack pretty bad. And then like if you play one of these, then it's not consistent, so might as well not play it. And I'm talking like 2 cards. Mistfall, first of all, is like cracked as fuck. So like when you buff a unit, you can pay a power and exhaust Mistfall to ready your unit. So basically, it's accelerate for 1 rune on every unit in the game. So this is cracked. And the other one is Blade whatever, like the green card that gives deflect to everyone that's buffed. So like this card is
really good. And you also have the card that doubles the buffs.
Yeah.
The issue is it's extremely slow.
Yeah, and like you don't want to see so many of these at the same time.
Kai'Sa and Ahri and Darius and all the token decks are so fast, and
yeah, exactly.
You're playing so slowly, and that doesn't work.
But like you have super strong cards, just like the deck is overall too slow right now. But with as you said, kind of like Fox like additions in upcoming sets, this deck could be somewhat decent. Because like if buff gets good, then Lee Sin gets good, right? Final standpoint on Lee Sin, do we expect it to have success in the immediate future? I don't think so.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone brought Lee Sin to Houston and did fine with it.
Like
I would have
64,
expected
yes, but like not bigger than that, I think. I propose that we skip Volibear, Jinx, Garen, because we'll be talking about them
Jinx,
later on.
Don't play them, they're really bad.
Yeah.
Lux, don't play it, it's bait, it's bad. All the big spells are bad in the game. Lux is making you play bad cards, so don't play her, she's terrible.
Yeah. So Ahri, someone was asking about Ahri. So I'm going to talk Ahri, then you can like add your 2 cents on it, right? Because that's one of the decks I've been advocating for the most. I think Ahri is extremely underexploited as of now. Is one of the best decks in the current format. I'm not talking like beating Kai'Sa and Yi, right? But I'm talking if you're thinking about 3rd, 4th place, Ahri should for sure be in that discussion. Mostly talking about blue lists though, We started off as seeing like green lists, so green Ahri with time warp and stuff. One, because it's funnier, two, because it's easier. In my opinion, the best list is a blue one. I've been preaching this for like months now, and we are finally seeing the switch trigger on people playing like a lot of cheap spells and blue Ahri and making value of the legend effect. So this I'm pretty happy about. I still think this list did not full commit into it, which I kinda don't like, but still we are getting clutter. Two things I think could be a problem for this deck in Shangai and the reason why it did not perform, because don't get me wrong, Ahri was one of the worst performing decks of the whole event. First thing is you need to be extremely skilled to play blue Ahri properly. It's extremely hard to sequence properly because like you have so many opportunities to draw mid-chain to like bait your opponent. Sometimes even just thinking about the cards, not having it in hand, but like sequencing so that your opponent thinks you're on it could change the outcome of the game. So it's extremely hard to play. And also it's extremely harsh on mistakes. Like you have to play so few bodies that if you lose a body because you made a mistake, you might start losing the game from that point. Both these things combined, I think, scare away players. And then, as you mentioned, top players were focused on Yi and Kai'Sa. Combine not top players plus like harsh on mistakes, and you have a deck that's good but not topping events. So that would be my 2 cents on this deck, but I still think it's extremely strong in the current format. Might be a bit tougher with Reigns, but I still think this deck could perform very well into Houston and upcoming events. What's your take?
Okay, I'll put it this way. You have like 10 fucking units in your deck. I'm playing Falling Star, 2 die. What are you doing? Like, you're not scoring 8 points with 8 units in your deck. So there's just no way.
Yeah, so that's the big problem for Ahri. It's the
I
Kai'Sa
think
matchup.
Ahri just instantly lose to Kai'Sa, and the dice is so important into E.
I think
I put Ahri... Oh no, I put Ahri in 8 here. Oh my god, I'm coping. What the fuck am
bro,
I saying?
I like it. I like it. You're on the train. I think Ahri is strong into everything that's might oriented. Like basically combat oriented. Ahri is extremely strong. And now the big problem is you have to deal with Kai'Sa, which like once again I'll say this for like kind of every deck, but like if you're talking about a deck that's not Mastery or Kai'Sa, you are most likely losing to Kai'Sa. So I think we should stop using this as an excuse to not explore other builds. Because like, well, yeah, you're losing to Kai'Sa, but maybe you could make it like possible to win, and that could be enough for this deck to be decent. Also, something that I think is positive for the deck is that right now, with like the Falling Star being a problem and the Warp being in every list, you were kinda wanting to play Windwall, but also in other matchups it's trash. Now that people will be adding Reigns in the main, you 100% want to play Windwall in the main deck, in my opinion, because like it now has so many strong interactions into Kai'Sa that it could win you the game. Because like if they go warp, and that's something that I do often, by the way, if they go warp and you go wall, you won the game.
I think what you're saying is exactly what I think about Ahri. It's you will win against bad players for sure.
Yeah, that's a sure
I think
thing.
a good player will never lose to Ahri in a million years. On a good deck, maybe some decks could lose, but I think Ahri exploits bad player. When you play against Ahri, there is a lot of stuff you need to play around. You need to play your Stupefy, Defy, Anger, Discipline, Charm, Run Prison potentially, Singularity could be there, Watcher, Windwall exists, they have Time Warp as well. All this stuff you need to play around, but in the end, Ahri has 10 fucking units, just kill them.
That's true. That being said, you have so many interactions, like potential things that you could play. And I think with the correct list and meta call, we've seen in other TCGs like quote-unquote lower tier decks win because they had the right meta call, and I think Ahri could exactly be one of these. But that would require both a top tier player and a good meta call, and that's probably not happening in China because like top tier players are not interested in taking such risks. But I think that's something that we could see in the West. That's what I'm saying.
I think a lot of players in the West have been thinking about Ahri. If your goal is to perform at the local level, Ahri is perfectly fine. If you are actually trying to win or get consistent results, I would also stay away from Ahri. But if you love the deck, you can make it work. It's a trade-off of efficiency versus like playing what you like. I think Ahri is fine to play. I think it's borderline the 5th best deck.
Yeah, it was better before.
I think I put Ahri as a 6th place or 7th place in my list.
In my opinion, it's like Annie is the better aggro deck, then Kai'Sa is the better control deck, then Yi is the better ramp deck, and then Ahri and Sett are fighting for the best tempo deck.
Leona is probably a very playable deck, but it's 100% losing in Kai'Sa. You're never winning into Kai'Sa. Literally,
Yeah, that's my problem, because I think Leona is extremely strong, aside from Kai'Sa.
I mean, it's really slow. I don't know how... It's good into Yi, that's for sure, but it's not that great into a lot of other decks.
It's extremely strong into most decks that are relying on bodies, and that's a trend that we saw before with like the Kai'Sas, including mechs, and then like Setts popping off because Yi was strong. Then like decks like Ahri and Leona in this big bodies meta were stronger than they are right now if we are talking reigns in the main deck and stuff.
I guess we could say that, yeah. I guess so. I think Leona does a lot of powerful things, but the stun cards are very expensive in power, and she also needs to ramp.
Stun is so strong into Yi though. Like they can't really play around it.
Stun is very strong. I think Leona is good into Yi.
Yeah, like,
but
there's something I want to say there, is like, if you are intending on playing Leona, please do me a favor, stop everything you're doing right now, stop watching the stream, whatever, then go read a fucking rulebook for 2 hours to understand every proper way of resolving a showdown, and then tell me in what constellation in the world you are not playing 3 Zenith Blade, because this card is crack broken, and like every list I see is like 1 or 2 of this. Like, dude, you have green Leona on board, right? Your opponent attacks you. You can just Zenith Blade. They can't defy because it's 2 power. Then they are the attacker, so they don't proc like Master Yi or whatever effect you want. You stun them, they lose 8 might, they die, you conquer, you score, you start your turn, you hold, you score. Like, why the fuck would you not play 3 of these cards? I'm getting crazy over this, bro. Like, I can't get that. I think people are just not understanding how to properly resolve that card. I think that's the only way they are not on 3 of these. Maybe the best signature spell.
It's very expensive, so I don't know. I think it's interesting.
Being expensive is a problem, but that also means that you can't get defied, right? Shangai is done. We already talked our minds through most of these legends, so let's just like, I'll go with them one by one, starting from the bottom. And then we're just like going to like say they're fine, or we need to rank them elsewhere, following Shangai and our talk right now. Garen is...
Dementia, you forgot to test and you forgot what deck were good, so you brought Garen.
Yeah, so you are D for Dementia. So actually Garen stays here, volley 2. Is there anyone that we would want to derank to D for Dementia though? Lux maybe?
Lux is going to Dementia, I think.
I think Lux is Dementia.
Lux is going to Dementia and Leona as well. I mean, my Leona, I love her, but she's
bro.
As well.
Nah. Leona is just not good into Kai'Sa. It's a good deck.
No, she's just not winning. I can tell you for sure.
It's a functional deck aside from the Kai'Sa matchup though.
I let you put her at the very top of Demacia with Volibear, but no.
I can go for not good. I can't put her into... Like, you want to tell me Leona is as bad as Volley, Lux, and Garen? Come on.
I think Volley is better than Leona.
Nah. It's just better because Aurora into Kai'Sa, right? Nah, I can't. No. I agree to demote her to not good there. I do agree.
Yeah, put her at the end of not good. Then.
I think we are seeing a lot more Kai'Sa, and since it's unwinnable into Kai'Sa, then she's probably not good, right?
Yeah, okay. I think Sett is just a monster deck, but it's so inconsistent.
You need draw power choose. If you get them, it's really strong.
You need early units, you need mid-game units, you need cards to buff your stuff, and you need cards that uses the buff, like Call to Glory and such.
Yep.
And on top of that, you have utility cards in your deck. And you need all 5 of those cards to work together and be a good mix of them in your hand to actually win games. The problem is you have 0 consistency tools in the deck. You have no stack deck, you have no draw power, no cantrips. The best consistency in your deck is basically pushing onto the monastery battlefield, and that's it. For this reason, Sett is just not playable to the highest level. From your tier list, what shocks me is I think Kai'Sa Mekamek is not played, it doesn't exist, you can remove it, but whatever.
Yeah, at the time I did it, it was a deck though, but I kinda agree.
Just put it down, I think it's gonna confuse people for no reason. I think MF should be a bit higher.
So Darius, you think he's strong? So
oh yeah, Darius is underdog, 100%. Hook Darius, not shit Darius.
Here, no?
No, this was. This
oh no,
one is not good,
bad. This
and
is wrong Darius.
Darius
Yeah, this is wrong Darius.
Underdogs. He's with Annie and Sett.
Here? Maybe yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe yeah. This one
Teemo
is shit
well.
tier, probably like here, maybe.
No,
like
it's not good, but it's better than Foley and Garen and all this
probably.
bullshit.
Teemo is probably like decent, but not an underdog in my opinion.
Oh, I would say Teemo is underdog for sure.
I mean, Teemo is probably
than...
better than Sett though. So if we put Sett in, but Sett could be here.
To me, Ahri is same as Sett and Teemo is same as Ahri and Darius. But
I would agree with something among those lines. I would not put Ahri below though, but like yeah, I could see that. Then Yasuo is...
I mean, everything else, I think you just push MF to decent and we're good. I think I agree with most of it.
Decent. And yeah, Aura is decent too, like too bad at being consistent. Any one of the biggest contenders. Yeah, I agree with the rest. Just to close this, so we have a clear expected winner for Houston in Kai'Sa. What do you think is going to be the biggest surprise? What do you think is going to be the like risky bet of like overperforming and underperforming?
I think Teemo is overperforming. I think Teemo is gonna be higher than Ahri, Darius, and Ahri in terms of placement. I think Teemo is a bigger seed beside Kai'Sa and E.
Alrighty.
I think one Teemo guy is gonna push it. I think Ahri is gonna be in top 16.
Okay, this I agree with. That was going to be my pick. Exactly my
Ahri,
pick. I was going to say Ahri is going to be in top 16.
Ahri doesn't make it out of top 64, maybe 32 at most. Darius, if some good Darius player, a decent list and also just playing good and a high roll, maybe the top cut, he could get to top 16. 32, I don't see Darius making it all the way to top 8 or top 4.
I mean, that's performing as expected, right? That's an underdog that you were describing right now.
Yeah, I don't see Darius winning it all. I don't see Ahri winning it all. You just can't win consistently against Kai'Sa, I think. Ahri could surprise people, but I don't think it's winning either. And I wouldn't be surprised if he underperformed, but that's gonna be because not that many people might be on E. I don't know how accessible Proving Ground is in the US.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know. I think card accessibility is going to be a huge thing as well. Like Aura is very expensive, and the players who would want to be on Aura are the players who are less invested into the game, I believe.
But I don't think Aurora is the best version of Yi, so that should not be a problem, right?
No, but I think MF, for example, is going to be less played than it should be.
Gotcha.
Same for E or E.
So you actually brought up both my picks, so I'm not going to be like so original of a person, but like I was going to say, in my opinion, Ahri is going to get to top 16, so that's my overperforming pick. And also I think we are way, like top players in the West are way less inclined to play like very linear decks. So I think we are going to see way less top players on Yi. And so like overall way worth results for Yi as a deck. So my underperforming pick would be Yi, whatever variant of it you want to call it. And then regarding Ahri, sadly I must agree, I think Reigns are the nail on the coffin. And it will be hard for Ahri to get better than like top 3.
Oh my god, Kai'Sas are gonna be net decking this winning list and putting 2 Reigns in the main deck, 2 time warps. What is Ahri doing?
I think that's what they're going to do.